Right. Hello, good evening. Welcome to News Night here on Metro Television. My name is Bridget Otu. Thank you very much for joining us. And 7 decades, 15 prime ministers, one queen. Queen Elizabeth dies at 96. We'll bring you more on her death and the glowing tributes that have come in. Let's look at the headlines. And glowing tributes pour in for British longest ruling monarch, Queen Elizabeth II, following the announcement of her death an hour ago. Frustration grows among many Ghanaians following National Communication Authorities' move to restrict calls of unregistered SIM cards. Now, the Electoral Commission eliminates the guarantor system in a fresh constitutional instrument for the registration of prospective voters in its upcoming all-year-round registration exercise. Minority Caucus in Parliament demands a reversal of government policy to engage the services of SHS graduates at selected CHIPS compounds. We have details of these stories and more in the next 60 minutes. Thank you again for joining us. Britain's longest reigning monarch, Queen Elizabeth II, has died in Scotland. Prince Charles is now king. It is a moment that the United Kingdom has been bracing for, with an elaborate plan for Operation London Bridge, mapping out what happens next. But it comes with a shock all the same.
Elizabeth II. In full, Elizabeth Alexandra Mary, officially Elizabeth II of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, and of her other realms and territories, head of the Commonwealth and defender of the faith. She was born on April 21, 1926, in London, England. She was crowned Queen of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland from February 6, 1952. In 2015, she surpassed Victoria to become the longest reigning monarch in British history. Elizabeth was the elder daughter of Prince Albert, Duke of York, and his lady, Lady Elizabeth. As a child of a younger son of King George V, the young Elizabeth had little prospect of acceding to the throne until her uncle Edward VIII, the afterward Duke of Windsor, abdicated in her father's favor on December 11, 1936. In 1961, she made the first royal British tour of the Indian subcontinent in 50 years. In the same year, Queen Elizabeth II planned to go to Ghana, a former British colony that had gained its independence in 1957. But before she left on the trip, which was to take place on November 9 to 20, members of parliament and the public didn't want her to go. They were worried of the visit becoming too dangerous. But Elizabeth has always been intent on making the trip to Ghana. One reason she was reluctant to reschedule was that she had already cancelled on Nkrumah in 1959 when she became pregnant with Prince Andrew. Though Ghana was part of the Commonwealth, along with other nations that had been part of the British Empire, she knew Nkrumah was getting restless. As head of the Commonwealth, the Queen did not want to insult or embarrass Ghana by postponing the visit, which would push Nkrumah into leaving the group altogether. From the moment Elizabeth arrived in Ghana, along with Prince Philip, she was surrounded by crowds and excitement. Post-independence, the country had embarked on a program of African socialism in an attempt to strengthen its economy after years of colonialism. A new Marxist Ghanaian paper found Elizabeth to be the world's greatest socialist monarch in history. It was an unusual description for an enormously wealthy hereditary head of state, but indicated how popular she was.
Right, and let's go to our video wall and see the protocols on what's expected from day one. And so this is what, Operation London Bridge as themed. Say what happens across the United Kingdom after the Queen Elizabeth II dies or her death, and it's known as Operation London Bridge. It's a 10-day protocol that has been in place since 1960s and planned to the minute of how to handle the Queen's death, including the official announcement and funeral plan. So you saw from the afternoon that the family had to meet, and people were suspecting, initially they didn't say she was dead. Day one, King Charles, Elizabeth's 73-year-old son, who has issued a statement, will be confirmed as king and will meet with the Prime Minister and the Cabinet, and we suspect this has already been done. Day two, the Queen will be returned to London, likely by train. That has also been stated in the statements they put out. Day three, King Charles visits Westminster Hall, then embarks on a tour through the UK, including early stops to the Scottish Parliament and a service at St Giles Cathedral in Edinburgh. Therefore, King Charles will continue his tour into Northern Ireland. A funeral rehearsal practices the transfer of the Queen's coffin from Buckingham Palace to the Palace of Westminster. Day five, the coffin will make its way to Westminster along a ceremonial route. Day six, the Queen will lie in state for 3 days at Westminster, raised above the masses. The hall will be open for 23 hours a day for the public to visit, and King Charles will continue his tour. Various state departments have plans to deal with a massive influx of visitors to London, including transportation and security. Day 7, Day 6 to 9, and day 10 is the state funeral will be held at Westminster Abbey with a national moment of silence. The Queen will be buried at the King George VI Memorial Chapel at Windsor Castle. Right, and King Charles has issued a statement, and the first son of the Queen, His Majesty the King, has just issued a statement, and these are excerpts of it. And it says that the death of my beloved mother, Her Majesty the Queen, is a moment of the greatest sadness for me and all members of my family. We mourn profoundly the passing of a cherished sovereign and a much-loved mother. I know her loss will be deeply felt throughout the country, the realms, and the Commonwealth, and by countless people around the world. During this period of mourning and change, my family and I will be comforted and sustained by our knowledge of the respect and deep affection in which the Queen was so widely held. Dated Thursday, September 8, 2022. And that's from King Charles. So we're going to speak to a Ghanaian journalist based in London, Jones Ewa, for more on this. A very good evening, and thank you very much for joining us. Hello, Jones.
Thank you for having me, Bridget.
Right. So, as expected, the entire world has received the news. Glowing tributes are coming in. I just want to start with a statement by King Charles that for a lot of people, they are celebrating her life at 96, but he puts a very personal message for her mother. Are you surprised by the tone of it, that they are saddened by it, despite the fact that she had lived such a long life, to see 15 prime ministers and across 7 decades?
Well, King Charles III, his tribute comes as no surprise, because that's, at the end of the day, that's his mother. For us as the subjects of the Queen, of course, this is such a sad day for the United Kingdom. But for him personally, it will be much, much different, because as his mother, and he's very close to his mother. In the afternoon, when Buckingham Palace released a statement saying that the Queen's condition is not looking good, we realized that the whole family, royal family, were rushing to Balmoral, which was of great concern, because this has never happened. Okay, so
right.
in the end, a lot of us, there's a lot of anxiety within the general public. Everybody stopped exactly what they were doing. We were all glued to the TV, and you
Okay.
realize that, that day could potentially be here. And I mean, for King Charles now, King Charles III, and of course the royal family, for them it is a sad day indeed, and for all of us.
Okay. And for us in Ghana or on the continent, we're seeing what the royal family is putting out, what's on international news platforms. But can you share with us how does it look like locally in Britain?
Well, the Queen, she's the epitome of British identity.
Right.
Her coronation from 1952, as you made mention in your VT, she's the only person that has been, she literally stood still whilst things have changed around her. I mean, if you look at the time and you look at events that have taken place, and the Queen has still remained solid and kept the tradition of Britain going, it's unbelievable. And, the former Prime Minister, now Boris Johnson, paid a tribute saying, for some reason, she seems so timeless. And as kids, we believe that she will go on forever. And that
Right.
is the sense of loss that we're all experiencing now. Whether you are a royalist or not a royalist, you feel that there's a vacuum. Her presence is really, really being missed, because in the midst of all the challenges, the Queen was that person that's able to bring hope to all of us here in the United Kingdom.
Right. And for the continent, how should we view it? I mean, Ghana is a member of the Commonwealth. Clearly, it's a big loss for the Commonwealth as well. But how should we see and view her death?
I mean, look, there's been a lot of discussion, particularly to do with the Commonwealth. However, the Queen wanted King Charles now to succeed her because, prior to leading to her death, she did kind of like stay back and stayed out of, her usual duty that she performed. I mean, for the Commonwealth, today's a sad day, so we'll leave the other argument for another
Another
time.
day,
But I'm
right.
sure all the leaders will feel that there's a great loss, because she was such, a kind-hearted person that everyone could easily communicate with. So it would be a big loss for the Commonwealth indeed.
Thank you. Thank you very much, John, for speaking to us. President Akufo-Addo has issued a number of, messages through his social media platforms, and he's also asking that, flags be flied at half-mast for 7 days, and also we'll try and project his message that he put on Twitter on our video wall, so I can share with you what the President of the Republic is saying. We also have a member of the Foreign Affairs Committee of Parliament and member of Parliament for North Tongue, ranking member on the Foreign Affairs Committee, and also North Tongue MP, Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa, to speak to him on this. Right, so that's President Akufo-Addo's tweet. That's the second or the third tweet. And in honor of her memory, I have directed that all official flags in the nation fly at half-mast for 7 days as from tomorrow, Friday, 9th September. And this is contained in a series of tweets that he put out. So let's start from the beginning. It says, my thoughts and the thoughts of all Ghanaians at home and abroad are with the Queen Elizabeth II, the British monarch and head of the Commonwealth, the organization of which Ghana is a proud member, and her family in these difficult moments. I wish her the best and God's blessings, from President Akufo-Addo. Right. Good evening, MP for North Tongue, Mr. Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa.
Hi, good evening.
Right, you are a ranking member of the Foreign Affairs Committee. I just want to get your initial thoughts on it, hearing the death. For some, it's expected. At the same time, it's shocking and sad. What do you think or make of it?
Well,
You have no call.
Rather unfortunate. We'll try and reconnect with our Member of Parliament for North Tonga. We sincerely apologize for that. But we'll still be looking at some more tributes that have coming in respect of that. But also, a big story in this country has to do with people who woke up today and couldn't make calls because either they haven't registered or they have registered but they say their details were not properly captured. All right. So some Ghanaians have started feeling the pinch of the NCA's punitive action as they are unable to make calls. But frustration is also growing among persons who claim to have registered their SIM cards but are facing similar fate. My colleague Zoe Anita Odai witnessed a chaotic scene at one of the registration centers and has come through with this report.
The National Communications Authority last Sunday indicated that persons who have not re-registered their SIM cards will have their SIM cards blocked temporarily. This means that they may not be able to receive phone calls and also their data may be blocked.
Anger and frustration. These people who have massed up at this registration center are threatening mayhem over their inability to make calls. Some are at risk of losing major business deals. Data from the Ghana Chamber of Telecommunications has revealed that as of August 20, 2022, only 5,861 persons had completed the biometric capturing for the re-registration exercise, compared to the over 235,000 who had registered as of July 28, 2 days before the extension was announced. However, some mobile network subscribers are experiencing interruptions with their phone service following the sanctions imposed by the National Communications Authority.
MTN people, they steal the Ghana people, then they steal the Ghanaians. Government, they are not talking about this one. Ghanaians is suffering.
Nothing is not working. Since in the morning, we have been sleeping here. Me and some man, we bring our bed sheet. But as at now, they say the network is going. So I want to ask, which network is giving MTN network?
Should I leave my work and be following Ghana card and registration of a SIM card? Man must work to eat. This Accra, you not follow this Ghana card and registration of SIM, and you not go to work. Are you the people feeding us?
They are, however, calling on government to come to their aid and listen to their plea. For Metro News, I am Zoe Anita Odai Circle.
Right, we're going on the phone to speak to former Member of Parliament for Kumbungu on Zoom, Rasmu Baraka. Very good evening and thank you very much for joining us. You have been a fierce advocate of this whole re-registration exercise, saying it's illegal. They've gone ahead and we're seeing that there are genuine concerns. These aren't people who say they didn't register. Some haven't had their Ghana cards for over 18 months. Are you surprised at where we are now? And what do you think should be the way out of this?
Well, good afternoon from Toronto. I'm just arriving to the city from Montreal. Let me say that, this does not surprise me. It does not surprise me because the minister is acting in a manner that is completely unconstitutional. She's interrupting with the rights of Ghanaians to have uninterrupted mobile telecommunications, either for their business or for their private use. And this is clearly, coming from a ministry whose minister is completely out of touch with reality. The reality is that majority of Ghanaians do not have access to the Ghana card. Many are willing to get the Ghana card, but they are unable to do so because of technical challenges and reasons beyond their personal control. And you have a minister who would go ahead and block the cards of Ghanaians who legitimately have a right, to use their mobile SIM cards for whatever business they're doing. The act is illegal. The process of re-registration itself, as far as we are concerned, is also illegal. But be that as it may, people are already in the process of getting their cards. You can't interrupt, they are having the freedom to use their cards. And for me, anyone who feels hard done by, anyone who feels affected by this should seek legal remedy. Alternatively, You know,
But will that work? I mean, you're
look at
talking
it.
about individuals, and listening to them. Listen to this woman who is frustrated and says that, are we supposed to abandon our work and chase a card? My Ghana card is not ready, and yet I am being penalized for simply registering, and through no fault of mine, my card is not ready. How is somebody like that going to take a legal action or a class action maybe?
Well, she's absolutely right. But, you know, the current government is taking the docility of the Ghanaian public, you know, for granted, and they are doing the kinds of things they are doing. I would expect for an action like this that hundreds of thousands of people would mass up in the street and demonstrate against the government, against the minister, until this level of madness ceases.
Okay.
We have seen this happen in other, you know, places. You saw the yellow vest demonstrations in France, so where, you know, people were unhappy about what their government was doing and actually came out to protest. So we, the people of Ghana, on whose authority the government runs, have the powers to assert our authority. And until we stop turning the next cheek, you know, to any government that wants to take us for a ride, these are the sort of things that would happen in our country. I expect massive demonstrations.
Okay.
People should stop whatever that they are doing. They should make sacrifices. They should be out there in the streets of Accra and elsewhere,
Right.
protesting, you know, against the violation of their constitutional rights. That's what needs to happen.
All right. Thank you, Ras Mubarak, for speaking to us in respect of this. And we'll also tell you what the Electoral Commission did today in their series that they call Let the Citizens Know. And they would, you know, they gave us things they think that when the processes that we're supposed to use in respect of getting your cards, and we'll try and bring that story up and share with you. But I have the statements from the Electoral Commission, and they say that, you know, in their quest to be transparent in implementing a continuous voter registration exercise, the edition is called Let the Citizens Know. And the Electoral Commission has, in its fresh constitutional instrument, eliminated the use of the guarantor system during registration of prospective voters. The EC, during a briefing, revealed that a Ghana card will be the only source document required for the registration of prospective voters in its upcoming all-year-round exercise. According to the EC, the guarantor system is fraught with challenges, hence its decision to eliminate it. Jean Mensah is chair of the Electoral Commission.
We do know that the NIA is facing some challenges with distributing of the cards, but we believe that those challenges are not they're insurmountable. These are challenges that they can overcome, and in our discussions with them, they have assured us that they are putting in place modalities to overcome those challenges. So if there are challenges that we cannot overcome, then we don't have to operate the NIA. But there are challenges that we can surmount. And we believe that, you know, distribution of cards is not an issue that cannot be surmounted with, you know, things put in place, strategies and policies and put in place and so on. So we do not believe that, you know, we need to phase out the guarantor system. The guarantor system is fraught with challenges. You find registered voters using this opportunity to serve as guarantor contractors. And it is in their interest to register as many people as they can. And so you find that where, you know, there are minors and foreigners coming through, they are willing to do that for them. So it's not a system that we should encourage under any circumstances. And we have 2.5 years. We are saying that in 2.5 years, surely the NIA should be able to produce Ghana cards, to distribute Ghana cards, to register people and get its system running in 2.5 years. And so I know Mr. Tete mentioned that if you don't have the Ghana card today, you can go next week or next month, and you can acquire it and walk leisurely in your own time to any of our district offices in the district where you intend to vote to get registered on our roll and to be issued with the card. And we are aware of the issues with the NIA and the issues with the distribution of their cards. But again, I like to specify that they are not unsurmountable. They are distribution of cards. is not anything that is rocket science. And we believe that with the right strategies in place, the NIA should, and they have assured us that they've put in place modalities, and very soon we will find them, that system up running and people who are registered with them receiving their cards.
Again, the Electoral Commissioner has also said that the Ghana card will not be replacing the voter's ID. And here's the Deputy Chair of the EC in charge of operations, Samuel Tete.
Also had discussions to the effect that citizens will vote with the Ghana card in 2024. This is not true. The card is only a requirement to register as a voter for those who have not previously registered as voters. Once you present your Ghana card and successfully register as a voter, you will be issued with a voter identification card which bears the features of the EC, namely the code of your region, district, the electoral area, and the polling station. To conclude, in the exercise of our mandate, we are mindful of Article 42, which enjoins us to register Ghanaians who are 18 years or above and of sound mind. We do not intend to disenfranchise persons who qualify to vote. It is in our interest to register them. It will be an antithesis to deny any Ghanaian the right to register. But we equally have the responsibility to ensure that only qualified Ghanaians are found in the voters' register. We owe this responsibility to Ghanaians, and we will work to uphold that.
Well, live here on Newsnight, you can share your thoughts with us on all that you have heard today, this evening on Newsnight, including, the 15 prime ministers who served under the late Queen, Liz Truss is the current one. There's Boris Johnson, Tony Blair, Cameron, Major. There was 15 of them. See, I can't remember all of them. We'll be right back with more. Welcome back to Newsnight here on Metro Television with me, Bridget Otu. The Asukori Mampon District Court has dismissed a bail application filed by lawyers for the two accused persons standing trial in connection with the disturbances at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. The two have been remanded in police custody and will reappear on September 2022.
The riot at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology campus in Kumasi led to the arrest of the two, Francis Tutu Etuahin, a level 200 student at the university, and Daniel Osei-Bonsu, who according to authorities was a former student of the university and completed in the year 2020. The suspects were put before the Asokore Mampon District Court and was asked to reappear on September 8, 2022. When the case was called on Thursday, September 8, 2022, the head of legal and prosecution of Ashanti Regional Police Command, ACP Kofi Blagoji, prayed the court to remand the suspects again for the police to be able to continue its investigations and arrest more students. However, lawyers for the two accused persons urged that the suspects are not criminals and therefore must be granted bail to enable them to go back to school and write their examinations. But the judge, Samuel Kwanzaa, dismissed this request and remanded them in police custody to reappear on September 20, 2022. ACP Kofi Blagoji is the head of legal and prosecution at the Ashanti Regional Police Command.
To withdraw with a new charge sheet. They said I will substitute the charge sheet. And I presented, of course, with a new charge sheet. Yeah, so we are on with the matter. Presented about 67 names. Yes. So, and then now we are able to get the names of the other accused persons split out. And that is what we presented to the court.
The counsel for the first accused person expressed disappointment that the presiding judge did not grant his bail application. He, however, added that he will meet with the family of the accused persons to weigh other options.
The court has assured us that the next agenda will grant them bail. So let's see. We will still go and sit down. We have another option to go to High Court. That's possible. But we will still sit down. And next week too, the problem is next week we will not be here when we have our bar conference. But all the same, we will sit down and then we decide the next line of action.
Meanwhile, the prosecutor has amended the charge sheet, indicating to the court that over 60 names of the suspects have been identified. In a related development, a member of the Katanga alumni, Nana Ejay Trema, is calling for a broader stakeholder consultation on the need to revise the policies of the university and the whole management system in public universities.
Some officials of the New Patriotic Party in the Western region are demanding an independent inquiry into how some excavators got missing and how the police arrested the DCE for attempting to obstruct their work. They say the arrest and detention of the DCE for Elembele, Kwesi Bonzo, only amounts to show of power and an attempt to subvert justice.
Speaking in an interview with Metro News, the executive of the New Patriotic Party in the Elembele constituency expressed their disappointment in the manner in which government has allowed impunity to mar its fight against illegal mining in the country. They claim the commitment to fight the canker, as indicated by the President Nana Akufo-Addo, has been reduced to just a promise and power play in the Elembele area. These comments follows the arrest and detention of the DCE for the area, Kwesi Bonzo.
Our DCE and our constituent secretary was accused of taking pictures and obstructing the police work. They were arrested, detained, and were told we are going to court today. We went to court and no show. We are very disappointed in the happenings. We want the police to do their work as professionals. We want the police, that's what the DCE requested for an independent investigator. The issue is between the police and the DCE. The DCE is accusing the police is accusing the DCE. So if the police is allowed continuously to do investigation, so who are they working for?
He chastised all those sabotaging the DCE in the fight against illegal mining activities in Elembele.
We've worked against the Galamseyers for the past 5 years. And we know what we are doing. We are not allowing them to work. That is why they form a crew to fight us. But tell you, the truth stands. We are not going to leave any stone unturned. What we are doing is, as far as the Elembele constituency is concerned, we are not going to allow, the unallowed word is allow, anybody to do Galamsey.
On his part, the communications director of the party, Stephen Yao, reminded those in government to make conscious efforts to help in the fight against illegal mining.
We are so much concerned about the way Galamsey is destroying our water bodies and other things within the constituency. Just as the president said some time ago that he will put his presidency on the line as far as the fight against Galamsey is concerned. And this is exactly what our DC, Honorable Kwesi Bonzo, is doing. It's exactly what the constituency executives are also doing.
We continue with that string of stories, and mining practices in Ghana continue to have tremendous harmful impact on people's livelihoods, while at the same time becoming for many the most viable means of economic survival. Recent attempts to deal with the issue have faced systemic challenges, requiring the collaboration of regulators and political officials to harness the sector's development potential.
The country has been attempting for several years to combat the problem of illegal mining, in which foreigners join or compete with indigenous small-scale miners in an untaxed activity that is meant to be the preserve of Ghanaians. President Akufo-Addo, at a 2-day bipartisan consultative dialogue on small-scale mining last year, said it would require stakeholders in the small-scale mining industry to engage in honest and candid conversations to stem the tide of the menace of illegal small-scale mining. In 2017, the president stated he will put his presidency on the line in the fight against illegal mining.
And all kinds of people from all aspects of our national life are involved in this exercise. Security personnel, political leaders, businessmen, and dare say it, nananum. Some are all involved in this. I've said it in the cabinet, and perhaps it's the first time I'll be saying it in public. I am prepared to put my presidency on the line on this matter.
But has anything changed? Are we making headway in this fight? Seth Walashime is a mining consultant. He says we must devise creative ways in the fight against illegal mining.
If we put together all these monies that have been dissipated through the formation of these ad hoc committees, we would have resourced Minerals Commission to be able to be present in every mining district. As it is now, Minerals Commission has zoned the country into about 4. And they have their offices, within a vast, expanse of land. And they cannot be effective. So, enough of the firefighting approach and more innovative, creative ways be devised, and also Minerals Commission research so that they can be able to perform their mandate.
The involvement of foreigners in illegal mining activities continues to be one of the challenges the country is facing.
And the minority in Parliament has described attempts to replace trained professionals with high school graduates at CHIPS compounds in some parts of the country as shocking. According to them, Ghana is currently losing experienced practitioners to the West. The MPs are therefore insisting that government should engage unemployed nurses and doctors who have been without jobs for months.
Addressing the press on Thursday, ranking member on the Health Committee of Parliament, Kwabena Minta Akando, lamented government's continuous insensitivity and lack of concern for the welfare of health professionals. According to him, the economic challenges of the hyperinflation and unprecedented depreciation of the cedi has further worsened the plight of the health practitioners.
President Mahama made the effort to increase access to medical education. And so that is why today we can sit and say that we have more than 1,000 doctors who have completed their housemanship and they are sitting at home. And therefore, he should not make that effort useless. President Akufo-Addo should not make that effort useless. It is incumbent on him so that we make judicious use of our scarce resources, and it's the scarce resources you use in training these medical doctors. As a country, we used to send a lot of people outside this country to go and study medicine and come back into this country. Why should we train medical doctors in our own country and we'll be looking at them whilst other places in this country are looking for medical doctors?
The Minority Caucus on the Health Committee also asked the government to rescind its decision to engage high school graduates at CHIPS compounds when over 1,000 health professionals remain unemployed.
We are not against government employing SHS graduates. That's not what the point we are saying. We are saying that as a country, we have invested in our people who are sitting at home. And therefore, we must prioritize recruiting them. If, for example, we have recruited all the 19,000 nurses, and we still think that we want to add more, so be it. But you cannot be looking at 19,000 nurses sitting at home, and you tell me you are going to recruit, SHS leavers. That is highly unacceptable.
The minority is therefore urging government to prioritize the uptake of trained professionals in the various health facilities in order to control the high attrition rate.
Right, you're live here on News Tonight, and before we take the break for business, the Crown, Malizi, Prince Charles, Camilla are the top trends in the world, and rightly so. So we'll come back with more. Stay with us.
Welcome back to Newsnight Live on Metro TV. My name is Winston Taki. And out of force business story. A research analyst with the Institute of Energy Security's Fritz Moses has hinted of a possible drop in prices at the various fuel pumps. Following a drop in crude oil prices in the world market, Ghana Cedi is expected to stabilize moving forward.
Prices have fallen below $90 per barrel on the world market following fears of global economic recession. This is expected to cause a reduction in fuel prices at the pumps on September 16, 2020 if the trend continues. Brent crude futures sold at $88 a barrel, falling below the $90 a barrel for the first time since February 8, 2022. Global energy demand is softening, especially in China, where crude oil import fell 9.4% last month compared to a year ago, as the country's zero-COVID policy has led to full or partial lockdowns in more than 70 cities since late last August. In an interview, research analyst with the Institute of Energy Security, Fritz Moses, explained the outlook on the international market.
On the day around $87, and we anticipate that going into the rest of the week, into next week, we may still see prices still lie below the $90 per barrel mark. Of course, for the finished product, LPG, diesel, and petrol, we are seeing price falls for diesel and for petrol currently around slightly below 10% fall on the international market. Diesel prices have also increased just a bit, around close to 2%. LPG prices are still remaining stable as they were in the last price even. But of course, we anticipate that going forward into the end of the week and in the weekend, we may still see prices continue to fall further.
He hinted that the marginal fall of prices of petrol is expected as oil prices on the world market drop while the cedi begins to stabilize.
For petrol, the prices have fallen by over 10%, by close to 10%. We will anticipate that should the cedi maintain its current rate against the US dollar around 9.97 against the dollar, then we will see some marginal depreciation or some marginal fall in the price of LPG of petrol that hopefully around 2%, also around 2%, 3% region. But aside that, we expect that the cedi's depreciation would cause the changes in prices in the next from next week.
Presently, a litre of petrol is going for about 11 cedis 22 pesos and diesel 14 cedis on the average.
Now, away from that, the chairman of the Ghana Chamber for Construction Industry, Surveyor Emmanuel Mate, says the business of construction has over the years been left unchecked and has called for the establishment of the Construction Development Authority.
You know, law is a tool for social and economic engineering. Now, there is an important aspect, construction. There's no law that regulates the construction industry. So we all get tapped. Anybody who get tapped, I'm a contractor. Who is a contractor? There was no law that defines it. So the various classification of contractors is not defined by law. Who would qualify to be a contractor is not defined by law. So the regulation of the business of a contractor is not defined by law. And so we are trying to promulgate a law. We call it CIDA, Construction Industry Development Authority. This is an important law that will help us. The issue of properties falling during construction, all those things that once we have a regulatory body defining contractor, regulating, and all those things, would have a strong construction sector that would boost our national development. So that is one of the main goals. There are other laws like the Surveying Council law that we are also fighting for, and other laws that we are pushing for their, what do you call it, promulgation.
Now you're all for business here on Newsnight. My name is Winston Taki. Sports is next with Phil John Corte.
Well, good evening and welcome to the sports segment of the news. We'll focus on the demise of Queen Elizabeth, who we're being told by the Buckingham Palace died about some hours ago, age 96, after reading the people of the United Kingdom for close to 70 years. We're being told that she has been riding horse for the past 80 years. You are seeing the pictures on your screens of Queen Elizabeth, quite young at that time. She should be in her mid-40s, holding horse, and also trying to see how best she can do it. You see, there you find her with her late husband, Prince Philip, also in one of their gardens in the United Kingdom with a black horse, quite strange over there. But Queen Elizabeth has been riding a horse for close to 80 years. She also has that passion for tennis. You've seen there over there at the Queen's tournament, a tournament that is playing her honor in the United Kingdom. So there you see the Queen over there talking to the ball girls ahead of the major tournament. That should either be at the Queen's or Wimbledon in the United Kingdom. This was the moment every Englishman will cherish. It was in 1966, the only year the English won the World Cup, when they beat Germany at Wembley. There you see the Queen over there, the husband smiling over there, and the captain of the Three Lions also in your picture over there. So this is the time that the English people cherish very well. It was in 1966 when England beat Germany to win the only World Cup trophy they won in the world. Find out when she met the likes of Serena Williams and Novak Djokovic at tennis championship. You see it pretty soon. There you see it over there as she arrived with one of the top hierarchies of Wimbledon. There you see the picture. These are videos, by the way. You've seen that should be Serena Williams, all of them over there. She greets them gently as she's about to. Martina Matilova, there she finds herself smiling to the pictures over there. Yeah, yeah. There should be Serena Williams over there. Then Novak Djokovic also there with the Queen greeting them. So yes, dead and gone. She will be well remembered when we talk about horse racing, cricket, and football over there, Queen Elizabeth. Well, that's your sports. Up next, Showbiz.
It's now time for entertainment news. Now, Quand Black Stars film by all Ghanaian cinema has emerged to take its place on the global stage. But before we explore what makes Ghanaian film so special, let's take a look at how the industry started. Reverend Chris Tree Hesse, who was Nkrumah's personal cinematographer, has been speaking to Metro TV.
The reporters who were sent to the various countries outside the colonial headquarters to film, they were not, to them, I think it was discovered that they were not speaking the truth, they were not presenting the truth. So that was why the colonial government decided to set up a film school to train the locals to shoot their own films, to shoot their films so that they could see the other side of it too. And it started with 3 Nigerians, 3 Ghanaians, 3 Nigerians, Fajamesi, Otigba, and Rauna. And then the Ghana side, we have Samaite, Fenuku, and Bobo.
He also explained how the name of the film industry altered and his journey as a filmmaker.
The West African Film School had metamorphosed to the Gold Coast Film Unit because they were training, they had enough graduates. So they changed from the film school to the Gold Coast Film Unit. And while at the Gold Coast Film level, they were still training people back on the job. So the school was, the school changed to the Gold Coast Film Unit, which became the Ghana Film Unit. So we've been attending cinema, Rex, Ra, Riga, those were the old cinemas, particularly Rex. We were going to Rex, seeing King Kong and all those films. So I was a cinema fan. So I said, oh, yeah, I should go and learn filmmaking. So I was admitted in 1954. It was a river of no return. I liked it. At that time, I was preparing myself to my aim was to do pharmacy at the Kwame Nkrumah University. And I changed my mind. I loved the creative work. So I changed my mind and got stuck. And that's how I became a film.
Away from film, Canadian singer Justin Bieber has revealed that he will take a break from his rescheduled Justice World Tour due to mental and physical health issues. Earlier this year, Justin Bieber was diagnosed with an illness which left him with partial facial paralysis. In June, after being detected with Ramsay-Hunt syndrome, Justin cancelled his tour but resumed in July. However, in a recent post on Stories portion of his verified Instagram account, Justin Bieber shares, "Earlier this year, I went public about my battle with Ramsay-Hunt syndrome where my face was partly paralyzed. As a result of this illness, I was not able to complete the North America leg of the Justice Tour. After resting and consulting with my doctors, family and team, I went to Europe in an effort to continue with the tour. I performed 6 live shows, but it took a real toll on me. This past weekend, I performed at Rock in Rio and I gave everything I have to my people in Brazil. After getting off stage, the exhaustion overtook me and I realized that I need to make my health the priority right now. So I am going to take a break from touring for the time being. I am going to be okay, but I need time to rest and get better. I have been so proud to bring this show and our message of justice to the world. Thank you for your prayers and support throughout all this. I love you all passionately." Well, that's it for entertainment news on Newsnight. My name is Harriet Adi Bridget.
Thank you very much, Harriet. And that will do for Newsnight. You know, earlier I was trying to mention all the 15 prime ministers that the Queen had seen before, her death, or who had served under the Queen before her death. And Liz Truss, Boris Johnson, Theresa May, David Cameron, Gordon Brown, who'd forget that, and Tony Blair, John Major, Margaret Thatcher, James Gallagher. All right, so that's just about it. Thank you very much for joining us. Go to all our social media platforms and leave your comments there. Henry Kwesibedi was my producer. Solomon was our director. Anthony was our floor manager. Good evening.